Hi friends, welcome to Learning Spark. In this video, we are going to cover the basics of equivalence of fraction and comparison of fraction for class 3 in just 5 minutes. So let's get started. We will start with equivalent fraction. So let's understand this. There is another video which is covering basics of fraction in this series. So if you want to learn about the basics of fraction, please watch the other video and then come to this video. Okay, so let's take this figure. Okay, how do we represent this in fraction? We write 1 by 2 because the denominator, which represents the full figure, how many divisions are there in the full figure? There are 2 divisions, right? In this full figure there are 2 divisions, so we write 2 here, and in the numerator there is only one portion that we are taking, so we write 1. Okay, so it becomes 1 by 2. All right, now let's divide this same thing by one line. Okay, now this became 4 pieces now from 2 pieces. So the denominator becomes 4 and the numerator becomes 2 because we are taking 2 pieces, right? But observe that there is nothing has changed. This figure remains as it is and the blue shaded piece also remains as it is. The only thing that we have done is divide this figure. That doesn't change anything. So 1 by 2 and 2 by 4 is basically the same thing. Okay, so that's why we call these two fractions as equivalent fractions. Okay, now let's learn a rule how to convert one fraction into another equivalent fraction. Okay, let's say these two are equal. Now when the rule is that when you are multiplying the numerator by one number and you are also multiplying the denominator by the same number, then the fraction remains as it is. In this case 1 is multiplied by 2 and 2 is multiplied by 2 becomes 4. So 1 by 2 and 2 by 4 becomes the same fraction. If you want to understand this a little better, you can see that 2 by 2, what are we multiplying by? Let's observe this. We are actually multiplying the denominator by 2 and numerator by 2, right? So we are actually multiplying by 2 by 2, which is 1. And any number, if you multiply it by 1, it remains the same number. Okay, and that is why 1 by 2 and 2 by 4 are exactly the same number or exactly the same fraction. Okay, now this rule, so let's now take 2 by 3, right? And let's make an equivalent fraction of this. So 2 into 6 equal to 12, 3 into 6 equal to 18. So 12 by 18 is exactly equivalent with 2 by 3. Now let's take a case of division. This same rule is also valid by division. If you are dividing by 6 and dividing by in the numerator and denominator both you are dividing by 6, then the number remains exactly the same. So 12 by 18, again you divide by 6, both the numerator and denominator, you get back 2 by 3, which is exactly the same as 12 by 18. Okay, now let's compare the fraction. Now we have learned about equivalent fraction. What are equal fractions? Now let's compare what is greater and what is lesser. So we will cover two cases when the denominators are equal. Okay, so these are denominators, right? So when they are equal, how do we compare the fraction? Okay, now let's visualize this first. Okay, so here denominator is equal means denominator is, what is denominator? Denominator means how many pieces we are dividing a figure into. So if this is an object, this is a full object, then we are dividing into 4 parts. Okay, for this we are dividing into 4 parts. For 2 by 4 also we are dividing into 4 parts. For 1 by 4 also we are dividing into 4 parts. The only difference is in the first case we are taking 3 parts, so it becomes 3 by 4. The second case we take 2 parts, So it becomes 2 by 4. And then in third case, we take one part. Okay. So very clearly, you see that this is greater than this and this is greater than this. So 3 by 4 is greater than 2 by 4, 2 by 4 is greater than 1 by 4. So as a rule, you should remember greater the numerator, greater the fraction. So if the denominators are all equal, if the numerator is greater, then the fraction is greater. Now let's take the second case. When numerators are equal, how do we compare that? Okay, so see here, this is the numerator, all the numerators are equal, but denominators are different. So how do we handle this case? Let's again put into figures. See, this is the object, right? This is the object. Now this case we are dividing into 7 parts. This case, the second case, 3 by 5, we are dividing into 5 parts. And third case, we are dividing into 4 parts. So each of the parts in the first one is smaller than each of the parts in the second one. And finally, the parts in the third one is the largest. Okay. Now you take 3 parts from the first one. You take 3 parts, 1, 2, 3 from the first one. You take 3 parts from the second one, 1, 2, 3. And you take 3 parts from the third one. Okay. And then you see who is greater. Clearly, this one is greater than this one. So this is greater. As a rule, you should remember, if the greater the denominator, lesser the fraction. So if the numerators are all equal, then if the denominator is larger, then the fraction is smaller. So 3 by 7 is smaller than 3 by 5 and 3 by 5 is smaller than 3 by 4. Hi friends, if you like this video, please press on the like button and please do not forget to share it with your friends. For more such videos, press on the subscribe button of the channel and then press on the bell icon to get notified. Thank you.